everyone, it's Lighthouse Angel here. Welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. I went ahead and already got the, general energy for the reading today. Hopefully it'll resonate for you. Again, just take what resonates, leave the rest behind. On this channel, we focus on taking you from zero to hero in your own life, giving you the tools and information so that you can grow and expand and become aligned with the best version of yourself, and always keeping the divine number one. Okay? So I've got, already pulled the general energy. I'm going to pull some more cards, and then I also have some messages from the box of wisdom. Okay? So let's go ahead and get started. We have the wise leader. You are a beacon for others. Okay. What I'm getting with this is that you might be doing something where you're guiding others. It could be a business. It could be something spiritual as well. Okay. I'm also hearing like you're a fighter, like, you've been through it to get where you are now. I mean, she's like got the sword. Looks like she's been through a few battles here. Right? Holding the spiritual torch. That's what I'm getting from that. And then it says grace and gratitude. Through gratitude, joy expands. Okay? I'm also hearing you could be a teacher of gratitude, a beacon for others when it comes to being through gratitude as well. Maybe you're some kind of influencer as well, since we have beacon here. Okay. And then we have, don't worry, everything you've been waiting for is on its way. Progress is being made even if you can't yet see the results. So much is happening behind the scenes for the creation of your dreams. Trust the process. So if you're worried about something, I'm getting like, who I'm speaking to and who this resonates with is that you walk in the attitude of gratitude. I feel like I'm speaking to someone who walks with grace and walks with gratitude every single day, right? And that's where you find your peace, your joy, and I'm hearing expansion, right? And I feel like this woman, she's standing here holding a spiritual torch. She's been through it. I'm also like, I've been through the fire. And now it's like you're a beacon for others, but it's like she's just waiting. Like I feel like she's waiting for divine guidance. You could be waiting for what's next. You could be in a season of, I'm hearing sitting still, right? You could be in a waiting season, right? And the divine is saying they don't want you to worry, right? Keep holding that spiritual torch, being a beacon for others in whatever it is you do, your business, your life, your personal, if you have something online or, a YouTube channel, whatever you're doing that inspires people. And it could be you're inspiring people through gratitude. Or you're just walking this, because she's like, there's a path here, right? You're just walking on this path of gratitude until, until God's opportunity presents itself, right? Until God tells you to move. It's time to move, right? Which is why he doesn't want you to worry that everything that you've been waiting for is on its way, okay? So if you've been up in your head worrying or anything like that, divine is here saying, stay in your alignment of gratitude, You are a wise leader here. Okay? So keep moving forward and don't have doubts or fears, I'm hearing. And then we have, you will soon be surprised and grateful. See, here we are talking about gratitude and grateful for how everything happened in the way it did for you to receive better and greater. It's all adding up in your favor. Trust the process and how things are unfolding for you. You will soon be surprised and grateful for how everything happened the way it did for you to receive better and greater. So what's coming in is better and greater than you had in the past. Okay? It's all adding up in your favor. Trust the process and how things are unfolding for you. Okay? There's a lot going on behind the scenes. You don't need to worry, and things are going to be you're going to be surprised, and you're also going to be grateful because it's going to be way better than you thought it was going to be, or way better than the past. Okay? All right? So continue to walk this path of gratitude, right? Being a beacon for others. And and you can be a beacon for others in your simple day-to-day life, right? Putting a smile on someone's face, doing something nice for someone, right? Sharing a story of inspiration. There's all kinds of things that we can do to continue to be a beacon for others, all right? So keep on that path. And then interesting, I pulled some cards from the Moonology deck, and I got 3, and they're all full moons. So something significant could be coming in on the next full moon, and that's September 7th. So a number 7 could be significant. But what we got is a personal issue reaches resolution. Full moon in Cancer. Okay, so maybe there was some kind of personal issue with the Cancer. Doesn't have to be. But this could be something that's going on behind the scenes, right? Or some issue, and it could be a personal issue with yourself, right? Maybe you had healing to do, or you had to cut something out in order to move forward. I'm hearing that. And maybe you just had some healing to do, but that has reached its resolution. And then we have a win-win outcome in forecast. Full moon in Libra. Okay? And this is about balancing the scales here. So whatever's coming in, okay, is going to balance the scales. The divine is going to balance the scales. If you've been in this energy of like, okay, when is God and the universe going to balance my efforts or balance the energies, right? Maybe you feel like you've done so much and yet everything doesn't feel balanced. Well, that's coming in. The divine is delivering a win-win outcome here. Okay? So that they want you to continue to stay in that high vibe energy, that high vibrational energy, operating out of love, right? Doing everything that you can to maintain that higher vibration because it's bringing this in here. And continue to be the beacon for others. I'm hearing being that guiding light. Okay, and she is holding, a torch here, which looks to me, I'm seeing it in my third eye. It's like a spiritual torch. It says, the answers you need are coming. Full moon and Gemini. Okay. So if you've been waiting for an answer to a situation, It's coming, okay? And I feel like there's a bunch of stuff that is in your favor. It's all being worked on behind the scenes here, okay? So you just need to find patience in the waiting season, okay? And continue to walk with gratitude, okay? I'm going to get one more card, and then I'm going to pull some messages from the box of wisdom so we can get some more clarity. But I mean, this all looks good. I think this is interesting that they're all full moons here, right? So pay attention on the next full moon, maybe, and this could be, I also just got this. It could be, the moon card in tarot is something that's hidden from you, okay? So there could be 3 things that are currently hidden from you that are being worked on behind the scenes here that are now going to come to light because, full moon is being something hidden and it's like in the dark here. So it's like you could have answers that are coming that have been hidden, an outcome, a win-win outcome to something. And this also could be a court case or something going on behind the scenes when it comes to some kind of resolution, okay? And maybe there was something going on that was hidden that's going to be revealed to you. That's what I'm getting as well with those. Coming to light. I'm hearing coming to light. But it's all in your favor here. It's all a win-win. Like everything is going to be a win-win. But I'm hearing it took time. But they don't want you to worry. If this resonates with you and you have there could be some kind of court case or something going on in the background. Maybe you're not even aware of this. Okay? But everything's going to come to light. They don't want you to worry. Like if nothing's happening right now and you're just like, okay, what are we doing here? Right? What's going on? Right? The divine's here saying, I don't want you to worry. Okay? I just need you to focus on keeping your vibe high, right? Focusing on the energy of love. Focusing on staying in the attitude of gratitude, right? Operating out of love. Focusing on you, your path, being a beacon for others, okay? And the divine is handling the rest. That's what I'm hearing. I'm handling the rest, okay? And continue, to keep that higher frequency, to keep that higher vibration, okay? You need to also focus on, it's your attitude, keeping those positive thoughts, focusing on your dreams, your goals, what you want in your life, not where you are, and also being grateful and appreciating the beauty in all things, and also taking care of your body. Making sure that you're eating right, you're drinking enough water, right? And also staying grounded, okay? Those things all matter when it comes to keeping that higher vibration, okay? Okay, let's see. What else, Spirit? Okay. We have number 37, write a letter. Write a letter to your inner child. Okay. And at the bottom of the deck, we have number 42. You deserve to be seen. Let yourself be known. Okay, so what I'm getting with this is like write a letter. And 37 is also a 10, which is like an end of a cycle. Maybe there's some inner child healing that you need to do. And the divine is saying, write a letter to your inner child, okay? You know, remind your inner child I'm hearing all the things that they are, you know. You know, if you have some insecurities or, you know, if you were a child that, you know, when you were younger, you were bullied or picked on or were emotionally abused, right? Maybe you were put down, right? To end that cycle, this is what I'm getting with this card. To end that cycle, you need to write a letter to your inner child and tell them, you know, how worthy and valuable they are and how beautiful they are, and that they're not those things that they were told, right? Your inner child was told, right? This letter is all about healing. So you need to write a letter to your inner child to, I'm hearing something, to release something here. Maybe you were always the outcast, or maybe you were always left out. You know, it's time to change the narrative. That's what I'm hearing. It's time to change that narrative. We've got 2 rainbows here. So this is like all about healing that inner child. And we have another full moon here. Okay? You know, it's time to allow the inner child to release those labels, those that, you know, we put on ourselves and we wrapped ourselves with as our identity. You know, what people said, their projections, all of that. All of it wasn't true, right? But we take on and carry that burden, you know, and call it our identity. It's time to end that cycle, okay? And by writing a letter to your inner child, and also letting your inner child know all the things that they are, right? And all the things that they're not. And write that letter out of love, right? Okay. You know, and I said, it says, number 42, you deserve to be seen. Let yourself be known. This might have something to do with maybe you're someone who was always like an outcast or always looked at as different, okay? And you were never seen. People didn't see you. Your inner child, you got ignored a lot or bullied. Always treated like you were different, okay? Because the reason why they want you to do this is because they want you to be seen here. You're meant for a higher purpose. That's what I'm hearing. You're meant for a higher purpose. 42 could be significant, or number 6. I'm also hearing you. It says, let yourself be known. Okay, you are the gift. That's what I'm hearing. Like, everybody made you feel like you were not, okay? I think especially because we're talking about the inner child here. It could have been extremely damaging when you were a child, okay? It's time to get rid of that narrative. That's what I'm hearing. Get rid of that narrative, because it's not true. And by doing so, the divine wants you to write this letter, okay? And then I also suggest doing something with it, you know, to honor yourself, okay? So, we all have different things that we struggled with in our childhood. Things people said, things that people did. And, we grabbed hold of them and said, yeah, this is who we are. This is who, I am. But it was never true, right? And maybe it kept you from being seen, right? It's time to step in your truth. You are the gift, the divine gift here, okay? All right. I'm hearing you are beautiful. So maybe that might be something that, people told you that you weren't when you were younger because you were different, or they told you were different, right? That's not your story anymore, okay? So do write that letter, and let your, give that love. I'm hearing give that love to your inner child, okay? All right, so let's get some messages from the Box of Wisdom. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna take this card out. For some reason, I'm being told take this card out, and because this came up. So we have the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is a victory. It means you overcame a battle, right? It's this win-win outcome here, okay? This could also put you where you're going to be seen, because it says you deserve to be seen here, okay? Maybe, there's something coming for you, or, something that I'm hearing something that you did is now going to cause you to be seen because, you had a victory here. This could be something going on behind the scenes that you don't see, okay? Like maybe you did a job for somebody, right? And you do what you do, right? You're a beacon for others. You guided them on this job. It was successful. You were grateful for the job here. And then maybe you didn't hear anything. Maybe you're just like, okay, I'll keep it moving, right? But you had a victory here, right? And you may be going to be seen for this, okay? Which is why the divine is saying, I don't want you to hold yourself back because of what people said about you when you were a child, okay? Because you're not those things. You're not those things, right? This could take you into the spotlight as well. It says, and I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Psalm 27:13. And I remain confident of this, and I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Yeah, I'm sorry if you're hearing those noises. It's my neighbor upstairs. Yeah, they want you to remain confident because you will see the goodness of the Lord, okay? That's what I'm saying. There's some kind of win-win coming for you, okay? And they want you to end the cycle of what you were told when you were a child, because you're getting ready to be seen and you're worthy of this, okay? You're not what those people said, okay? You're a beacon, okay? You're a beacon of light. I'm hearing you're a beacon of light. It says, a real man can't stand seeing his woman hurt. He's careful with his decisions and actions, so he never has to be responsible for her pain. Okay? A real man can't stand seeing his woman hurt. He's careful with his decisions and actions, so he never has to be responsible for her pain. Okay? So what I'm getting with that is maybe that there is a person, it says man, but it could be man or woman, okay, that is working on something behind the scenes here, okay? I'm hearing fighting your battle, okay? There's a victory here. Like you're having a victory. You could be going into the spotlight too, which is why the divine needs you to be ready. I'm here. You need to be ready for this, okay? You need to be ready, okay? And you can't let what people told you as a child be your narrative. That's what I'm hearing, okay? All right. In my distress, I called to the Lord, and he answered me. Jonah 2:2. Okay, so whatever I was saying that this wise leader, right? You're a beacon for others. You can't be a beacon for others unless you've been through it, okay? You can't show people the way unless you haven't walked through the fire yourself, okay? And what you walked through with God, okay? He answered your call. He walked with you, okay? He walked with you through the fire, okay? And you learned all the lessons as you walked with him. And now you're this beacon for others. Yeah, walking with gratitude here. But the only thing that you need to, still release is what, people identified you with when you're a child, because you're not that person anymore. Oh, we have another confirmation here about gratitude. So gratitude is very significant here. It says gratitude can transform common days into thanksgivings, turn routine jobs into joy, and change ordinary opportunities into blessings. Okay? Being in the attitude of gratitude, and I feel like because we've got 3 confirmations about gratitude here, right? It keeps you in a higher vibration where you can have joy on routine days, right? And you can turn the ordinary into extraordinary. That's what I'm hearing. You can turn the ordinary into extraordinary. So keep walking and being grateful because you're putting that energy out, right? And so you're going to get more blessings. Never assume, okay? Never assume. What I'm getting with this is that maybe you're thinking the worst on something, okay? The divine is saying, don't assume the worst, okay? And also don't assume that you are what the past, you are what they said when you were a child. You're not that person, okay? You deserve to be seen. You are the gift here. You are the gift, okay? All right. We all have things from our childhood, right, that we need to release, okay, for most of us. And so, when we become older, we think it doesn't really affect us. But what happens is that it gets into especially when you're a child, it gets into your subconscious mind because, when we're born, we're born with a clear slate. We don't have fears, worries, or anything, right? You see children when they're young, they're so vulnerable and so full of love and light because their script hasn't been started on what everybody has projected onto them, right? So, it gets so deeply rooted in our subconscious mind as we grow older and older of these identities that as a child people put on us. If we were bullied in school or picked on or ignored or isolated or looked at as different, okay? It can make you feel like you're not worthy of being seen, right? Or maybe you always felt more comfortable being on the sidelines. That way nobody would focus on you or your uniqueness or your as long as they didn't see you, they wouldn't pick on you, kind of thing. Okay? But that's not your story now, okay? You've grown and expanded, you've healed, right? Now you're a beacon for others, right? And you deserve to be seen here, okay? If you want to improve your self-worth, stop giving other people the calculator. Yeah, and that's what it really goes with this, the colors. So, what I'm really getting with this, if you're someone who has been struggling with your imperfections, that's what I'm getting. Your imperfections, okay? Nobody is perfect, okay? And there is beauty in imperfections, okay? And if you were heavily picked on when you were a child, it's because they saw something in you that you couldn't see. And that was that you were unique. Okay? And your uniqueness is a gift. So don't let other people decide your worth. Okay? You get to decide your worth. And as far as the divine sees you, he sees you as his masterpiece. His gift. He created you to be unique. And maybe, when you were a child, they treated you like that was not an asset, right? A downfall. But it wasn't. Okay? It wasn't. You did find strength in that. Right? We can find strength out of every situation here. But you're not meant to stay small. Especially if you were picked on a lot when you were a kid. It's because you have something inside of you that holds value. And they all see it. And they all want to pick on your light. They want to dim you. Right? Because they don't carry it. You do. So don't let other people be the calculator or decide your self-worth. Right? Because there's beauty. You carry the beauty of uniqueness. And you're worthy of being seen here. All right? Because anybody who is seen in the spotlight as perfect, they didn't get there naturally, in most cases, right? Because we all age, we all have our personal imperfections, right? They can all be altered, right? There's everything out there now that can alter all those things, right? But the divine wants you to love who you are because he created you in the light that you carry now, right? I'm also hearing they may not have seen you as a child, but they're going to see you now. That's what I'm hearing. They may not have seen you or your worth or valued you when you were a child, but they are now. Okay? And I'm hearing people should never assume, they should never assume that, I'm also, should never assume that you're not capable of achieving a victory here. Right? I'm hearing it's your turn. It's your turn here. Forgive the past and let it go with great gratitude. Okay, here's our fourth confirmation about gratitude here. Okay? And maybe one of the things that you need to do is, be grateful for, what happened to you as a child, right? And how it shaped you, right? But letting it go. Don't allow them to have the power over you, not feeling that you're worthy of being seen here. It says, it will allow us to embrace the present and the future with love, enthusiasm, and passion. Forgive the past and let it go with great gratitude. It will allow, it'll allow you to embrace the present and future with love and enthusiasm and passion. Yeah. Don't let the past hold you back. Okay? It's time to rewrite your story. I'm speaking to somebody who, maybe you're going into the spotlight, or maybe you're to be this beacon, it's going to require you to be seen, right? But your childhood isn't your story anymore. Okay? It says, don't trade your authenticity for approval. Yeah, and I feel like this is coming to maybe what you think people, we're talking about self-worth here, right? What you think other people, what you should look like, or what you should be, or what you think they want, that's irrelevant, right? You don't want to change your authenticity for approval, because now you're not walking in your truth, right? You're meant to stand out. You are not meant to follow the crowd. I'm getting that strongly here. So, authenticity, in these days and times, it seems to be becoming more rare, okay? Which is why it's so, so important to stand in your truth of that and being a beacon for others, right? There are so many people that are lost out there in seeing that value. It seems to be more value in fake than there is in authenticity. And that's not the right path. There is beauty in all things, right? There's beauty in your truth here. And the divine doesn't want, because of what people said to you when you were a child, and I'm really getting this, like maybe this has something to do with how you looked or how people saw you, right? Those people were just projecting on you what they lacked in themselves, right? So it's very, very important, okay? if you want to continue to be that beacon for others, that you stay in this authenticity, right? You don't need other people's approval, because all you need is God's approval. And He already has approved you. He just doesn't want you to, give other people the calculator to your self-worth, right? It doesn't matter what they think about you, or what their opinions are of how you look, or what your imperfections are, or what they think is your imperfections, because that's not how God sees you, right? And you're meant to stand out, and people who are meant to stand out, who are meant to create impact, there's always going to have there's going to be a lot of people who have something to say about it, right? But all it is it's your threat, right? Because you walk in truth, and they're, walking in, holding a mask, and on the fake path. That's what I'm hearing, the fake path, right? And the divine wants you to walk in truth here, right? In the spotlight, in truth. And, like I said, you may have people that have something to say about it, but that doesn't define you, right? You know your truth. You know your value, right? Don't let your childhood trigger you, okay? It says, forgive others not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. Yeah, and that comes back with these people, maybe from your childhood, right? You need to forgive them so you can have peace and being seen here, okay? Being this beacon. Let yourself be known. I'm hearing like you walk in beauty, okay? These people may not have wanted you to see it or know it. Especially if you, right here, a beacon for others. That means you carry a bright light within, okay? And anybody, in most cases, especially when you're, you aren't aware of it, okay? Everybody else can see it. But you can't yet, because you haven't grown and evolved to know your truth yet. So what happens is a lot of people can see your light, and so they try to dim it by making fun of you, putting you down, doing all the things to keep you small, because they can see what you can't see, right? But the divine is saying you see it now. So you need to release whatever was said to you in the past. And it could be by, it could have even been by your own parents here. Okay? And if that's your story, my heart goes out to you. Okay? But that's not true. If they said, mean things or tried to bring you down, that's not your truth. Walking in your authenticity, that's your truth. Okay? And because you're doing so, you're having a victory here. It says, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Because you're worthy of what's coming in here. Okay? And all this is telling you is that you still have something that you just need to heal and release here. Okay? So, if there's something that you're hung up on here, really just, write the letter, but also pray to the divine. Ask Him to help you heal those underlying wounds or statements or things that you are holding on to, right? That's keeping you or making you feel hesitant about being seen. And we have the Two of Cups. This is partnership. This could be also a new relationship, right? And, and this partnership could take you into some kind of spotlight, right? Because and being a beacon for others, and you're going to be seen. You need to release whatever is holding you back from the past that makes you think that you're not worthy of that, or you're not good enough, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not handsome enough, or you know what I mean? Because there's nothing more beautiful than authenticity. And that's even including in your own beauty. Okay? Because truth has power. Truth is beautiful. Flaws and all. Right? Nobody's perfect. Yeah, you can go out there and modify things, right? And that's great, right? But it's very important that you walk in your truth, all right? And maybe that's the impact that you need to be a beacon for others, right? That you don't need to take the fake path, and that you can walk in your truth, right? Imperfections and all, right? And still be powerful, right? And by being yourself here, everybody, describes, what beauty is supposed to look like, but who gets to really determine that, right? It's more important that you love yourself, that you believe that you're beautiful, and God believes you're beautiful, handsome, man or woman here, right? Don't let the past people, parents, siblings, classmates, friends that told you weren't enough, or I'm hearing always to be an outsider, right? That's not your story, right? The divine is saying, I want you to be a beacon, right? Being a beacon, being authentic, right? Showing people the way to joy, happiness, okay? And that you don't have to alter yourself, whether it's the outside, your personality. You don't have to have a mask for every situation, right? You just have to walk in your truth. That's what I'm getting. So I'm going to get a couple of cards to close up the reading. But this is all about releasing any childhood traumas, wounds, or anything that you're holding on to that might hold you back from whatever this is coming in that might take you into the spotlight, right? Because I feel like I'm speaking to someone who your purpose is to be that guiding light for others in truth, right? Showing people there's another way, a better way to walking their path, and it brings joy and gratitude, knowing your worth and believing in yourself, imperfections at all, and being that light to authenticity, because the fake way, it comes with, is not the way. And just more and more people are, morphing, I'm hearing morphing themselves into something they're not on all levels, right? And why? To get approval? To get validation? Because someone, because someone decided that's what determines whether you're can be accepted or not. That's just, that's just sheep, You're the shepherd, you're the wise leader here. You're not the sheep, okay? So don't let other people have the calculator on determining your worth. Because as you walk with the divine, right? He's always going to show you and your worth, your value, and he already sees you as a masterpiece, right? Which is why you're this beacon for others. I'm hearing you are chosen, okay? All right, we have true healing occurs when I give myself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the triggers. Yeah, there's something from your childhood might be triggering you right now. Okay? And so write that letter, really pray to help, pray to the divine to help you release this thing, and it's different for all of us, that's holding us back, or I'm hearing bringing up fear. Okay? Because it's your turn now. It's your turn now. It's your time. And now is not the time to let something that happened to you, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, because someone said, or what a parent said, or whatever, to keep you from what's this beautiful surprise that's coming in here, that's better and greater than what you expected. Okay? And then it says, instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good for all. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm getting with this, it's like, for the people that hurt you, praying for them that the highest good of all comes to them, right? You pray for their healing and you pray for the good of all, right? Okay? And maybe you've been praying for an outcome, hoping for something specific or something. Don't get attached to outcomes, okay? Right? Because if you don't get that, or it doesn't work out that way, then you're going to be disappointed, right? You want to pray for the highest good for all, for your situation, for everything, right? And also, when it comes, if the divine is sending you signs, guiding you through signs, okay, those are confirmation, right? So, maybe you're holding on to an income, I don't know why I said that, outcome, right? An outcome, based on the signs, don't disregard that, okay? Those signs hold, those are divinely guided signs, right? You don't want to disregard those. But just be open mind to make, that the highest good happens for all when it comes to the outcome, okay? And at the bottom of the deck we have, I recognize that I have chosen fear and I choose again. I choose love. I recognize that I have chosen fear and I choose again and I choose love. Okay, maybe that's this thing here. Maybe this is fear. Something in your childhood is bringing up, something is getting triggered through fear. Okay, You need to flip that script into love. Whatever you're fearing, maybe it's I'm not good enough, or I'm not whatever enough, or whatever that is, right? You need to give love to that thing. Whatever you're fearing, you need to give love to that. Loving who you are, not letting someone else decide, or determine your self-worth, okay? Giving yourself that self-love, okay? Because you are enough. I'm hearing, I came up in one of my other readings, it was like, you are enough. And now your ships are coming in, your blessings are coming in, you've got a win-win here. A personal issue reaches resolution. That could be this, this inner child thing is going to get resolved here. Answers are coming. You may be stepping in the spotlight. You had a victory here. You need to forgive others, forgive people in the past. Continue to walk in gratitude. But I'm really getting this authenticity. It's so, so valuable, okay? Walk in it, speak it. It's your beacon here, okay? All right. I'm going to get one angel number and then we'll close this up. Oops. Let's see. What else? Let's close up this reading. Number 6. And it says, now, this is interesting. These cards want to go all over the place. If you remember, I said you are the gift, right? It says your heart is your gift. Okay? I'm hearing your heart is, it's also a bright light, okay? It says, your heart is your gift. You are a natural born nurturer and have a great talent for helping and healing others. You are the epitome of self-sacrifice and a protector of those you love. I am nurturing. Yeah, and that's funny. It's like, it's this is you are a beacon for others. It's your heart. That's your gift. And being able to help and heal others. You could be seeing the number 6. That could be significant, right? So don't lose sight, I'm hearing on your imperfections, or what people said you were when you were a child, or anything that made you feel that you weren't good enough, right? Because you are I keep hearing this, you are the gift here, okay? And you are worthy to be seen. Who cares what other people think, right? Because they don't hold the calculator to your self-worth, right? It's, and anybody that has something to say about you is meaning that you've triggered something in them, right? And when you are a beacon for others and you carry that light and you have a beautiful heart like this, you become like a mirror and you reflect back to people what they lack. And the choices that they made in themselves, okay? Not choosing to rise to the occasion when it comes to themselves, right? And so they'll do anything to dim your light because they don't want to have to look in that mirror. They don't want to have to look at themselves. They don't want to see what they need to change. So they'd rather just project and try to take you down, which is probably what happened when you were a child here. But that's not your story. Okay? You are the gift. Your heart is the gift. You've walked through the fire. You're now a beacon for others, right? So keep walking in that truth. Keep being that authenticity that you are, not needing approval, not needing anybody to validate you that you're good enough, because you already are. You are the gift. Okay? The divine has blessed you with this beautiful heart, your uniqueness here, right? Your light. It's time for you to be seen now. Okay? And don't, you are here to impact others, to see that there is another way. There's another way to living. And it's not, I'm just hearing, it's not the fake way. It's the authentic way. Okay? The truth, right? And believing in yourself that you are this, you are the beacon. You are the gift, right? Because, this is a partnership. There's somebody that sees you in that light. Okay? All right, that's the message I have for you today. I hope it's resonated. I hope there was something valuable for you in this reading. Just keep in mind that I do daily readings Monday through Friday. So, always check back tomorrow if something resonates for you there. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, because it does help readings like this get to the people that need it the most, okay? But until next time, I'm sending you so much love and light, okay? Take care and have an amazing Tuesday. Bye.